That day, 5-year-old me was waiting anxiously for my parents to pick me up from preschool. Are they here yet? I had stopped playing with my toys and was just waiting for my parents to come. My teachers looked at me with pity. In the end, my parents never came to pick me up. It was a while after that I learned my parents had been in a car accident. I had no relatives I could reach out to, so at 5 years old, I started living in an orphanage. When will Mom and Dad come get me? It was difficult for me at 5 years old to understand and accept my reality. I just waited resiliently for my parents.
Nice to meet you, Haruto-kun.
A year after I started living at the orphanage, I was taken in by my stepmom, Akuno Ichinose, and my stepdad, Masaki Ichinose. That's how I became Haruto Ichinose. My life from there was fun. I had a lot of freedom, and my stepparents loved me. It was a happy family straight out of a storybook. Even as a child, I knew I had to repay them someday. I'm so happy to be Haruto Ichinose. But in first grade, when I finally felt like I belonged somewhere, things changed.
Honey, a child. I'm pregnant.
Really? Yay! Haruto, you're going to be a brother. My stepmom got pregnant. My stepparents were over the moon. I was also excited to be a stepbrother. My stepmom's belly grew, and we all believed a happy future was ahead of us. Mom. When my stepmom's belly was quite big, I ran toward her with a smile.
Don't touch me.
Huh? My stepmom pushed me away for the first time. Her eyes were of someone looking at something vile, and I froze. Honey, what are you doing? Haruto, we're sorry. Mommy was just surprised. You must be scared. My dad's words must have brought her back. My mom looked at me, and she looked like she might cry.
Haruto, I'm sorry Mommy's not feeling well.
It's okay. I'm sorry too. My mom hobbled over to her room. Now that I think about it, this might have been the day my mom changed. My brother was born. His name was Ritsu. At 2 years old, Ritsu was comfortable with me. Nee. Ritsu, over here. You're so good at walking now. Nee. Oh, Mommy. Nee.
Ritsu-kun, let's play over here.
Honey, Haruto was playing with them. It was obvious my mom didn't want him to play with me. My dad tried to talk to her, but my mom didn't listen. Since that day, my mom had changed. At this point, she treated me like I was unwanted. Since it's my half coming of age day, I wrote you guys a letter. Half coming of age day? How fun! Thank you. Honey, Haruto wrote us a letter.
Oh, I'm busy right now. I'll read it later. Oh my, Ritsu-kun. Good job.
More time passed. I was in my final year of high school now. My mom's obvious favoritism continued.
Ritsu-kun, you got 100 on this test. You're so good.
I'm leaving this house. That's probably better, right? Haruto, I'm sorry. I didn't think this would happen. Don't worry, Dad. It couldn't be helped. Haruto. You guys took me in. I understand how Mom feels too. After high school, I'll find a job and live alone. No, go to college. I'll handle tuition. Thank you, Dad. I studied hard for my college exams and got into the school I wanted to go to. After high school graduation, my days of living alone began. Honey, Haruto is leaving this house for you.
I don't know anything about that. Don't blame me.
It's okay, Dad. I'm glad I was taken in by this family. Nii-chan. Ritsu. Nothing. Never mind. Ritsu looked like he wanted to say something, but he noticed Mom's look and fell silent. I think he wanted to tell me something. I guess that's it. I remembered the fun times and felt some sadness as I left. Only my dad came outside to see me off. After that, I moved out of the prefecture and started living alone. This is harder than I thought. I didn't want to rely on my parents for living expenses, so I was working part-time at an izakaya restaurant, but I feel a little better. I don't know how many times I've thought that it would be easier if I could forget the time when my mom was nice to me. I felt a little more optimistic now that those thoughts weren't eating away at me anymore. Still, if I didn't have these deliveries, I'd be in trouble. I didn't know why, but since I started living alone, I've been receiving deliveries from the orphanage. I asked them about it, but all they would say is that they were just donations from the orphanage, and I got no details. But it was desperate times, so I gratefully accepted the food and other household items in the deliveries. I managed to balance work and school, and somehow graduated. After working hard to find a job, I got one at a systems development company called Lovekoi Software. My dad said I didn't need to, but I decided to send 30,000 yen every month as a token of gratitude. Lovekoi was a primary contractor company, so it was a pretty good working environment. I was in the system integration department. It was my second year. Along with my coworkers, including Mio Tachibana, we worked hard on our projects.
Ichinose-san, I wanted to talk to you about this.
Oh, okay. Hold up. Deadline time was always busy. Whew, finally done. We finished our project. Tachibana-san, the other reps, and I took 4 paid days off.
Everyone said they're going back home. What are you gonna do? Going home?
No, I have a home, but don't have a home. I told her about me being an orphan and my stepmom's treatment of me.
I can't believe that happened. I'm sorry for asking.
No, I'm sorry. It's not a story to tell after a big project.
If my mom treated me like that, I feel like I'd get mad and cut myself off. But you didn't resent them and repaid them. You're amazing.
I don't know. They took me in, so I think it's the right thing to do.
Actually, my mom's a single mom. We got in a fight in high school and haven't talked since I started college. Among my friends, I was the only one with hand-me-down uniforms. I was so embarrassed. I asked my mom for new ones. But with college fees and stuff, it was hard. You know how uniforms cost like $30,000 for a set, right? I realized later that it was childish of me. But since I brought it up, I couldn't apologize. After I started living alone in college, I didn't see my mom at all. I studied hard and worked hard to find a job, and I got a job at this big company. I wanted to prove that I could survive without my parents, but I couldn't survive on my own. I needed my mom's help with my tuition, with co-signing things. I was dumb. By the time I wanted to apologize, she was gone. She was gone before I could apologize.
Tachibana-san.
So, I admire you. It must have been hard for you. You must have been sad. But you're grateful and you're trying to pay them back. You're so awesome. I'm kind of embarrassed to say it.
Thank you for saying that. I haven't received love like this in a while.
Love? Yeah? You could call it love.
I'm getting a call. Can I? It's from my brother.
Of course.
Tachibana-san seemed relieved that the call came. I smiled and answered the phone. Hello? Ritsu? How are you? Sorry to call all of a sudden. Are you free? Since I left home, we've been calling each other like this. I think we talk more than we did at home. Nii-san. Ritsu's voice changed from cheerful to sad. I recognized it and interrupted. Don't apologize. You did nothing wrong. I told you a bunch of times, right? I'm sorry. Ritsu has told me many times that he wanted me to come back, but I didn't. I think he blamed himself. I've never once resented Ritsu, who still looked up to me as a brother. Actually, I really treasured him. 3 years later, I was dating Mio and had proposed to her 3 days prior. Mio, will you marry me?
Of course.
I didn't have much experience with a happy family, so this decision took a lot of courage for me. But I could be a family with Mio. I wanted to. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. I was engaged, so I decided to go home for the first time in years. This is Mio Tachibana, my fiancé. We work in the same department and we get along well.
Hello, I'm happy to meet you both.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking care of Haruto.
What was my stepmom thinking? She stayed silent next to my dad.
Mio-san, we're Haruto's step-parents, but we gave him a hard time. We're not good parents. But Haruto, he still calls me dad.
My dad's voice quivered. He always defended me from my mom. I knew that, so I never blamed my dad. Dad, I'm grateful for you. Mio knows that. She said she wanted to be with me because of that. So don't say that. I'm okay. I felt like my dad truly loved me. I was happy I came, but that didn't last long.
Mio-san, you said? Don't you think Ritsu is better than this person? You look honest and you're pretty, and you work for a big company? I think you're a great fit for Ritsu.
Huh?
Ritsu is a good boy and he's going to a famous private university. I think you'd be much happier if you married Ritsu. There's an age gap, but...
Cut it out.
In that moment, my dad raised his voice in anger like never before. Even my mom was shocked. She looked at him.
What? Don't yell suddenly.
Mio-san is engaged to Haruto. How many times do you need to hurt Haruto? I've been holding back. I know you. We're desperately trying to have our child.
The Ichinoses had a hard time getting pregnant after marriage. They tried fertility treatments, but it didn't go well. Emotional pain, time, energy, money, as those were all spent up, my mom was spent too.
Akuno, don't try so hard. Your body comes first.
Honey, I'm sorry.
My parents gave up on getting pregnant, and when my stepmom was 29, they decided to adopt me. After adopting me, they were blessed with Ritsu.
We have a responsibility. We took Haruto in. You ignored him and rejected him, even though he did nothing wrong.
I had to. I went through the pain of birthing Ritsu. Haruto is just my child under some paperwork. Of course there's a difference in how I feel.
I heard that mothers have more love for their kids than the father does, so I can't deny that there's a difference. But to treat them differently because of it is different. You loved him when we took him in, and changed so obviously. How much you hurt him. No matter what I said, you never listened. You coddled Ritsu and acted like you didn't want Haruto there. You loved him at first. Haruto came from such a hard life. How could you do that to him? I've given up on you since then.
What are you saying? It's too late now. Why did you stay married to me then?
Because Haruto asked me to.
What?
This was before I left home. My father had said this to me.
Haruto, let's live together. I was thinking about ending it with your mother.
Dad, you can't. Divorce is between the couple, so I can't say anything. But if it's for me, then you can't.
But...
Please, Dad. I love Ritsu. Ritsu always called me Nini. I was really happy. So I want him to be happy. I want his parents to be there, and I want him to smile. No child would be happy if their parents disappeared. That's what I think. I've had a sadness in me since that day my parents didn't pick me up. It's not just me. My friends at the orphanage too. Everyone had a sadness in their eyes.
Haruto, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Since Haruto left and started living alone, I never once forgot about him. You don't even know how hard it is for a college student to live alone, and you celebrated.
No! He said he was going to leave all on his own.
You kept treating him badly, so Haruto read the room and said he'd leave. You can't even understand that much? No matter how much food or stuff I sent, I knew it wouldn't be enough.
Wait, Were those deliveries?
I asked your orphanage to let me use their name. I thought you'd feel bad and not accept them.
I was saved by those deliveries in college. Those were all symbols of my father's love for me. Dad, thank you. Really.
No! I felt responsible for raising Haruto too. But when he ran toward me when I was pregnant, I just hated him. I had to protect Ritsu. Ritsu is my actual son. I recommended Ritsu to Mio-san because I was thinking about Ritsu's happiness over Haruto's.
My stepmom tried to gain sympathy, but my dad's face remained hardened. Stop it, Mom.
Ritsu?
It was Ritsu. He'd gotten so big. Despite the situation, that's what I thought. My brother is my one and only big brother. He's always been there for me. I never once thought we weren't related by blood. So, I thought it was weird. When he left, I learned that he was an orphan, and I was shocked. But to me, none of that mattered. It doesn't matter if we're blood relatives. To me, Nissan is Nissan. If he's happy, I want to congratulate him. I don't want to get in his way. Ritsu looked at me and smiled sadly. I must have caused him a lot of stress. Nissan, congrats. Be happy. Ritsu, thanks. You've gotten so big. Dad, I'm fine. If you want to divorce Mom, I won't stop you.
Ritsu, what are you saying? Don't say that. Let's stay a family. Yes, Haruto can live with us again.
What are you saying, Mom? I'm going to live by myself for my second year.
What?
Ma'am, I'm going to marry Haruto. Haruto is my one and only love.
She looked straight at my mom and spoke clearly. It was overwhelmingly bright to look at her.
Haruto appreciates even a person like you. He said even if it was brief, you gave him love.
What?
But I'm not like him. If you're going to hurt him, I will not forgive you.
Mom, I was really sad when my parents didn't pick me up. I was sad and anxious, and I thought I'd be alone forever. I wanted to disappear. A giant hole had opened up inside me at 5 years old. I didn't think it'd ever get filled. But
Haruto-kun, nice to meet you. We're your family now. I hope you'll call me Mom.
you came to pick me up. I had been waiting all that time. You smiled at me and reached out a hand to me. Thank you, Mom. I was really happy then. That soft memory never faded. That's why I never resented her.
Haruto, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My mom was in shock. Her eyes widened and she looked far away. She kept repeating it like a broken radio. What was she looking at then? I had no idea, but I felt like her tears reflected the warm memories we had from my childhood. A few months later, Ritsu left home. My step-parents got divorced.
I'm sorry, Haruto. I'm so sorry. Why did I?
My mom was alone in some shabby apartment, reading a letter. It was the letter I wrote to my parents for my half-coming-of-age day. When they got divorced, my dad handed it to her. I'm happy to be Haruto Ichinose. Thank you for taking me in. My mom was twisted by the idea that she had to protect her actual child. With time, she finally realized her mistakes. Nissan, congrats!
You're all grown up, Haruto.
A year after, we got married. Surrounded by family and friends, I was happier than ever before. Ritsu, Dad, thank you. I sent an invitation to my mom, too, but she didn't come. I had a feeling, but I was happy. A few days before, an invitation with the absent part circled arrived. In the corner, there was a note from my mom.
Please, be happy.
I was confused, but I realized when I saw the word happy, this was her reply to my letter from that day. The letters were shaky and smudged. I could tell how my mom felt when she wrote it. So, I was fine, because my childhood self finally got a response. Mio, I promise to make you happy. Let's build a beautiful family together.
Yeah, let's be happy.
I had lost my happiness so many times. I know that I can appreciate any happiness that comes my way. I'm sure the future holds countless moments of happiness from here on out.
This was such a heartwarming episode. I'm glad Mio and Haruto had each other in the end. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.